take you back to Friday night because I sat in my home with my family and decided to watch a baseball game. And, buddy, I think I saw one of the most, if not the most incredible individual performance I've ever seen. Shohei Ohtani, he pitched 6 innings. He struck out 10. He gave up 0 runs. He was 3 for 3 at the plate, 3 home runs, left the stadium with the middle one. People are saying we've never seen anything like it. That's obviously true. Is it the best individual performance we've ever seen in baseball?
Well, I mean, look, baseball's 2 things for the most part. It's pitching and hitting.
Yeah.
And so in that regard, you put it together, then yes, it is the greatest single performance. Now, there have been other position players who've made great defensive plays, but they're not making 5 or 6 of them in a game. So you're striking out 10 guys in a playoff game. This is not a regular season game. Like, you're not playing a team that's going to have 100 losses. You're playing a team that has a completely built baseball team. So you're facing really good hitters, and you're going out there and striking out 10 of them. And, oh, by the way, you had 3 home runs. And like you said, that middle one over the wall, over the roof in the right field pavilion. I was at dinner with some friends of mine that night, and I was watching it at the bar, like in the background while I'm trying to have a conversation. And when that happened, I told my wife, I'm like, Shohei just hit it out of the stadium. He hit it over the roof in right field, which is, for anyone who's never been there, it's way farther than you think it is. And especially in an October night in Los Angeles, the air is heavy. It was absolutely incredible. And look, it's the first time we've ever seen it, Gary, and there's a pretty good chance we will never see it again.
That's a good point you made. It's not like this is middle of July. You know, it's cold. It's cool. At least chill air in Southern California. So for him to get that like that, just absolutely incredible. And
Gary, one other thing you have to understand too, he was struggling.
Yes.
Plate before this. He was struggling so much from the plate that he did something on that day off in between games 2 and 3 that he'd never done before. He took BP on the field. He doesn't do that. He takes BP in a cage, soft toss, or off the machine. That's all he does. He doesn't take it on the field. He came out to the field at Dodger Stadium because that's how he was feeling about whatever's going on with the swing. And then the very next game out, he gets a hit, so he's good. And then that game, when he pitches, he hits 3 bombs. Like, everything about it makes no sense, and especially considering how he was hitting the ball prior to that game.
As I was watching this, and you know, my boys are there, and I was able to sort of recognize this in real time. Like, I have, like, you know, you get to a certain age, you don't remember things you've actually even done. You have no recollection of them. But I have weird childhood memories connected to sports. Kirk Gibson's home run, the walk-off in the '88 World Series. I remember being at my Aunt Pammy and Uncle Hull's house, my cousin's house. Like, I remember that's where I saw that happen. Duke upsetting the undefeated UNLV team in the Final Four. I was at my father's friend's house, Mr. Bernie's. Like, I remember these things. And I just, that is something my kids will remember forever. That is something they'll see for the rest of their lives. And it really felt like that kind of thing on Friday night. Like, we are all watching something in real time that we will see for as long as we live, held up as this great sports thing. When we watch the documentaries, it's going to be there. And that was just a cool thing to experience in real time, because we don't get that. We don't get that too often.
No. And for me, way to understand how incredible it was is the reaction to other players.
Yes.
People who play the game, they know how hard it is to do things at the top level of that sport, whether it's his teammates or the opposing team, whether it's what the manager said after the game or what people who've covered this game for a long time in the media have said. Like, something that Tim Kirkchin or Jeff Passan would say would give you so much perspective. But the look on Freddie Freeman's face after that second home run, he was in utter awe. And this is one of the best players of his generation, and he's looking at a guy that may be the best player of all time, and he is in awe of that. That's all you need to understand just how special it was what Shohei did in that game.
That's exactly right. You and I can talk about all of these guys because they're all amazing to us. We can't do any of this stuff. But when you, like, Mookie Betts is also one of the greatest baseball players of all time.
Yes.
And he's amazed by Shohei. Freddie Freeman is a future Hall of Famer. He's amazed by what he's watching. That is perhaps the biggest compliment you could give a guy. You blow away people who blow away other people. That's incredible.
Right. And when we think about like the greats of all time, and it's oftentimes the context that we have is how other players of that generation felt about them. Yeah. Like what Magic Johnson said about Michael Jordan when Michael Jordan was starting to become Michael Jordan, or the way players talked about Barry Bonds at the plate, or, you know, Randy Johnson at the mound, or even going back when Bob Gibson was pitching in the 60s for St. Louis and how great he was. It was also how much better those players were than other great players. And that's seemingly where we stand right now with Shohei Ohtani, is that, yeah, he's clearly the best player in the game. No one will argue that. But how much better is he even than the guy who's in second or third? That's the margin that we're talking about that really defines someone's greatness.
You mentioned Barry Bonds. I've seen clips of like Chipper Jones talking about him. And it's just like, I'm just telling you, that was a different thing. Greg Maddux, there's this funny clip. He's at like some convention, and somebody asked him about, you know, how difficult was it pitching to Barry Bonds? And he said, honestly, it wasn't that difficult at all pitching to Barry. It's just like ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4. He said you got to get 27 outs in a baseball game, but there is no rule that says one of them's got to be him. So you just go try to get the other guys out. And like when all-time greats talk about people like that's interesting to me, and they're doing it right now with Shohei. Let me ask you a different question, because in the celebration on the field, Dave Roberts, it went viral. Hey, let's win 4 more games and really ruin baseball. Are the Dodgers ruining baseball? I guess that theory is tied to the fact that they're outspending everybody. They're getting franchise favorable contracts from some of their stars, most obviously Shohei. And just it almost doesn't feel fair when you can go Blake Snell, Shohei, and everything else they're doing.
No, they're not ruining baseball, because they'd win every year. They won last year. They didn't win the year before that. Right. And there have been a couple times they've gotten there and they lost, and they probably should have won based on their talent, but nothing is guaranteed in sports. So you're not ruining sports. Did the Yankees ruin baseball in the 90s? Right. With that Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, Jorge Posada team, with all those guys? I mean, granted, most of those guys came up through their farm system, but they did go out and pay guys around those guys to be able to pitch or drive in runs, right? So there's always going to be this argument that, well, baseball, they spend so much money, but nothing's guaranteed. And I'll say this about the Dodgers. All that money they spent on players, look how many injuries they had throughout the course of the season, too. The luck that they had is all those guys came back healthy by the time they ruining it. No, that's just people who are mad that the Dodgers are winning. If it was their team or a team in their region, they wouldn't have the same response to it. It's always the opposition that people want to criticize. Terrible.